Hello everyone. Welcome to Motadata webinar. We are waiting for 5 more minutes and we will start the session after that. Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. Thank you for taking the time to join us for this insightful session on why 2026 is the year observability replaces monitoring in every IT budget. In today's session, we will explore how observability is transforming the way IT teams understand their environments, why organizations are moving beyond the traditional monitoring approach, and how the modern business can prepare their IT strategies for future. Before we begin, I would like to introduce our speaker for today's session. So we are pleased to have with us Kruta Bhatt. He is the product analyst at Motadata. And with that, I would like to hand it over to Kruta to take us through the session. Over to you, Kruta.
Thank you so much, Muskan, for introducing me. Hi, first of all, very good afternoon, everyone. Uh, Pleased to welcome all the members in the webinar. I can see various members, Mr. Ryan Modak, a very warm welcome to you. Debangana Ghosh, Giovanni, Hiroshini, Kajal, Mr. Kokumin, sir, Krishna, sir, Neeraj Gupta, Prem. We are having so many attendees in the webinar. So as Muskan already introduced to today's topic, which is why 2026 is shifting from monitoring to observability in every IT budget, right? So let us start the session. Just allow me one moment to share my screen. Please confirm, Muskan, if my screen is visible to you.
Yes, Kruta, it is visible.
Thank you so much for confirming. So, uh, everyone, as you can see, today's topic, why 2026 is the year observability replaces monitoring in every IT budget, right? We are going to cover in this session that what is the modern IT chaos which is running all over the world, facing by major of the organization of the world, not only for the IT sectors, including BFSI, including manufacturing sectors, right? Uh, shall I know your perspective, team members, whoever joined in the Teams meeting in the link, from which segment you are from, and shall I know your designation? Can we have that kind of chat in the chat section, please? So it would be helpful for me also to drive the session to give you an examples according to your organizations. Yeah, so can we have that chat, please? I have answer from Mr. Pradeep, Zivsi Technologies, BDM. Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Pradeep. Can we have any of two or three more answers for the same on the same? That from which segments you are from, sirs, madams, ladies and gentlemen? Kajal, Vinassi, WinCap Consulting, ISR, government sector. Okay. Sakshi here from Unite Core Pre-sales. Hi, Sakshi. Please welcome. EDM, Teleco, and IT industry. Pradeep Shrestha. Pacer Automation sales. Welcome on board, Shrikar. Hi. So yes, thank you so much for your chats, for your information. So let me start with a very basic example. Each and everyone who is presented over here can relate to this image, the chaos of modern IT world, right? Let me give you an example. Whatever organization we are working with, right? There there has been some monitoring dependency for your each and every infrastructure, correct? You have your servers infra, you have your network infra connected with SDNs, right? Local network like firewall switches, servers hosted over the cloud, servers hosted over the VM, physical servers for data centers, right? Now, anything happens, any outrage happens, user complains, and this kind of silos begins, right? This kind of outrage begins, and each and every team just comes under the fire call of the Microsoft Teams and doing the incident raising and all the things, right? Let me give you an insightful data for this modern IT chaos. As you all aware about that, world is shifting from local on-prem data servers to the cloud data, right? Each and every data is currently moving over the cloud, right? As you can see over here, there are 78% of the cloud adoption has been already done in the world. Due to this, what is happening is my data centers are physical servers in the on-prem hosted over my premises. My all the other servers were either they are on the virtualization, either they are on the clouds. My network devices, either they are hosted and over the SD-WANs connected my all of the uh, data, either they are on the on-prem, like firewalls, like routers, like switches, right? But there are very few devices which is hosted over the on-prem if I consider the network. If you want to connect your own location, you will obviously prefer the SDN and SD-WANs devices, right? So now there are two partitions. 70, 78 to 85% you have the cloud partition in your infrastructure, and the rest one is your on-premises. Now, due to this, 98% of the complexity surge rages because you have the separate data information for your clouds, you have the separate data information for your on-prem devices, your on-prem servers, your on-prem networks.
your databases. Due to this, you don't have any kind of connectivity between those two, and 80% of the visibility gaps happen while any kind of outrages is there. So once my outrages happen, there are all the data silos. No data is talking to each other. As per the recent studies, it comes out that average enterprises in this world in the 2026 using different 10 types of monitoring tools. 4 out of 10 organizations using more than 11 tools to monitor their infra, just to visualize that what is going on in their infra. Due to this, if any outrage happens, it affects your budget, it affects your incident resolution to 58% of the slowness. And due to this, you are having 30 to 40% of the false alerts. They are not the real alerts that is considering any kind of insightful information. They are just false positive, generating a false incident. That's it on your ticketing tool. Right. So what happens due to this? First, there is no security based alert which gives me an insightful information that does outrage really happens or not. And if the outrages happen, how many my security is being breached over there? Second, your tool is continuously working in a reactive mode because your metric data, which is collected from your infrastructure logs, and your, I can say, application performance is working on the silos, not working as a unified, not working as a combined, and not gives the information to each other. Data will not talk to each other. Due to this, always user complaints first because your dashboards are green every day. User complaints first, your dashboards are green, you don't have any insights that what is happening from the backend. Now, for example, you come in your organization at 9 a.m. Put your bag, open your laptop, everything works fine, everything looks fine. You just open your all of the dashboards like fire, you check the firewall, you check your SDNs, you check your servers, right? You check your cloud, everything works fine. At 9:30, one user complaint raises that I am facing an issue to pull out the data from the databases. While I am pulling out the data, it is continuously buffering. Within 15 minutes till 9:45, you have thousands of complaints. Dashboards look greens. Dashboards all green. Firewall, nothing security breach happened. Servers, everything looking fine. Logs, you have lakhs of logs. You don't have any kind of meaningful insight from the logs. You are receiving more than 8 lakhs of logs within 20 minutes. So your team just go into the silos. At 9:50, your team call begins. Server team included, firewall team included, cloud team included. Everyone knows that everything looks green, then where is the issue? After 30 minutes of the outrage, you will find that there is one tiny service from application to which is connecting my application to database. That particular API, which has to be respond within 2 milliseconds, it raises the response time raises up to 1.5 seconds. That's it. That's why these many complaints happen. You have lost many of your customers, right? Here I have mentioned 45 minutes. It is an average duration if for any organization which are using 10 plus tools to just monitor their infra. This is not the observability definition. This is just a vanilla monitoring that you are doing. Networks and system gets more complex, that they face visibility gaps. And what is the solution? What is the solution that if your any of the tools does not talk to each other, if I don't have any kind of meaningful insight from, if I'm using a metric and if I'm using a log monitoring, but if I cannot correlate, it's not meaningful for me. What is the solution? You have to shift your monitoring to the observability, to the unified platform where you will find each and every data under one umbrella, where data can talk to each other, where my historical trends can talk with my logs. Whenever I'm finding my historical outrage, I can see the correlated logs with it. So I have that data that because of this reason, this spikes happen, this outrage happen. This is the observability. So when you are shifting from monitoring to observability, you will evolve your data collection to deep insight into a digital business application. While you are doing only vanilla monitoring, you are finding what is happening. But when you shift to the observability, you can also see why it is happening. So that is a major bridge between what is happening and why it is happening. If I had the stomach ache, I can say to the doctor that I have the stomach ache. Doctor tells, okay, shall he or she give you the pills directly when you are telling him that you are a stomach ache? No. They find the reason, they find the why your stomach ache is happening. Then and only then they give the medicine accordingly. What you have eaten, right, previously. Likewise, they ask the question. Likewise, they have the meaningful insight connected with your problem, not only what is happening. After getting why it is happening, then they give you the pills and then your stomach ache becomes less. So it's a definition of the observability that if my data works in the silos, observability take that data and put it into the one umbrella, you can where you can find what is happening connected with its why and connected with where it is happening. Observability has the three pillars. You will not only get the reactive messages, you will be getting the proactive insights of your problem which is happening. And this is as per the calculated data that the organizations which are using observability tools are more likely to detect an incident, detect an alerts, find an particular outrage 3.5x faster than the organization which are using scattered tools. Now let me give you an insight about the three pillars of the observability. What are the three pillars? First is my metrics, which tells me what my trend is telling me. Let me give you a simple example of the CPU utilization, which is my metric. You can easily able to see in the task manager metrics, right? My historical trend, my historical data. Second pillar is logs, which will tell you why it is happening. Logs, along with the timestamps, provide you a deep system activity context and pull audit ready narratives for your infrastructure. And the third and very important pillar of the observability is trace, where you can find my anything outrage happen, where it is happening, which particular service I have to pin down, at which particular point my user is facing the frustration, where you can track all of your users journey in your application, right? Once they sign in, they go to the first landing page, then they go to the dashboards, then they explore the modules, and they just check out from your application, right? And let me tell you something interesting. If your application is your business, then traces are the most important pillar of your observability for you. Because 1 second of the delay in your page load of the application can slash your conversion of the user by 7%. 1 second, just 1 second. And it will reduce your user conversion by 7%. If your application is your business, trace is the most insightful data that you can track. And these are the three pillars of observability: metrics, what is happening; logs, why it is happening; traces, where it is happening. Now you have all the insightful data under the single umbrella where you can correlate each and every metrics with logs, each and every logs with the traces, with the API calls, with the service calls, right? You have all the unified 360-degree view for your infrastructure, not only hosted on premise, not only hosted on cloud. You can put all of your infrastructure, including clouds, including on-premise servers, including virtualizations, including your databases, collecting your applications, your cloud instances into single platform. You will have the single dashboard for all. Here, I have mentioned application performance monitoring and real user monitoring separately because of the traces. These two modules will give you an insight that if your application faces any issue, where it is happening, you can find from here. Then user will not complains first. Tool will notify you before user complains. Yes. In application monitoring, you cannot only do the overview of the application that what is performing. You can map each and every service calls connecting to your application, right? So in the observability, what you get is you will get single pane of glass where all monitoring domains in the single unified console. No tool switching, no tab switching, nothing. Just one dashboard, that's enough. You will have the full stack visibility, right? From your on-prem to your cloud, from your microservices from backend to the front end of your GS, sorry, of your application, of your user journey. Zero blind spots. Cross-domain correlation. You can easily connect insights from your metrics to the logs. If I find any spike in my CPU, then I have the logs correlated which particular service is using my CPU in this server. You are sitting in your headquarter, in your location, anything breaches, you have the insights in the headquarter only. including your logs, including your spikes. You will find root cause more efficiently and in an easy manner, because obviously one platform reduce tool fatigue and overhead single source, right? So if you're shifting from monitoring to observability, you will get just one platform, one complete platform of your all insights. Now, what metadata is providing over here? What, how metadata is sufficing the definition of observability? How you can easily cut your noise and turn that noise into the signals. Metadata have the intelligent log pipeline, which will not just parse the logs and show all the dumped logs, which will intelligently do the ingestion, and from the ingestion to indexing, my dynamic parsing, my real-time clustering, my correlation and filtering, and my pattern detection can help you to find a root cause from 20 minutes to 2 minutes. In the log pipeline, you will have the faster troubleshooting. In the log pipeline, you have the more confident decision with your complete and auditable data. Yes, if we talk about audits, if we talk about compliance, metadata suffice your all security related compliance in the log pipeline, connecting your PCI DSS, connecting your GDPR, HIPAA, ISO, all the compliance reports can be just extracted by one click. All reports are ready. So, as I mentioned previously, that when you are having an 8 lakhs numbers of logs within just 30 minutes, you will not go to that portal itself. It will be a chunk of data which is not used for me. 8 lakhs. If I serve that log now, it will take my 3 to 4 hours. It's a huge number. And the scenario which I have mentioned previously, it's a real life scenario which has been happened into India's largest private bank, HDFC, in 2021. They lose nearly 300 millions rupees, and RBI also penaltied him. Reserve Bank of India, the management of each and every bank, penaltied HDFC more than 300 million for this outreach. Right. They are having more than 10 to 15 lakhs of log dumped in their environment in just 50 minutes. So where metadata comes into the picture in likewise scenarios, we have the intelligent log pattern detection, that if your logs are comes under the single pattern, it will show you the one log for your 8 lakh, 10 lakh logs. Let me give you a simple example of regular organization infrastructure, which is up to 1,000 or 2,000 devices, up to 5,000 devices. They are receiving the amount of logs, which is, I can say, 1 or 2 lakh logs per day or in the half day in the business hours, right? Now, if anything small happens, they have to go for each and every 1 lakh log, each and every log, and it's a very silos data which where I cannot find anything meaningful or something. So log pattern detection, what it does is that it will detect the pattern. It is not necessary that if my logs are coming, then the each and every log has to be different in the sentence or different in the pattern. Right? There has to be pattern matching of each and every logs. So we'll generate you the pattern. If I find only three patterns for your 80, 90,000 or 1 lakh log, I'll show you only three logs. Now you can choose, you have to go to your 1 lakh log for identifying the root cause, or you just have to go to that three log from generated from that 1 lakh log only to find the root cause. The solution we are providing is this from the log pipeline. Right. You can see here with the screenshot that how many processed logs, how many events per second is being generated in your infrastructure, along with what type of device is generating your logs. You can see your live trails in the log pipeline. You will be eliminating the data silos and blind spots. You are shifting to the real-time log clustering along with pattern detection, as I previously mentioned. Many of the organization says have the compliance that they have to retain the logs after 1 year. Yes, we have that flexibility with our own homegrown Motadata database that we can stretch that database, we can stretch the data retention up to 1 year, up to 1.5 year. You don't need to rely on any third-party database when you are coming towards Motadata. And you will be having a compliance controls which are all log audit. Now, this is the story of the logs for your infra. Let me give you an insightful information for how your traces happens. To map your traces. If your application is your business, then application monitoring is a must for you. Because if there is no APM in your organization, then you will not find what is happening in your application. Yes, you can see the server performance which where application is hosted. It will be green always. But if you want to see the insightful information for your application, the application performance monitoring is for you. Where we are not only telling that how application respond, we are also telling that if I have the multi-service application connected with my application services, each and every services talk with each other with small API calls, with spans. And yes, we will map your each and every span. We will map your application database in a single console where you can easily able to find if my application is performing well, whether I'm facing any issue in the database. Is there any errors in the database query which is running in the backend? If database is performing well, then I will go to my spans, which has been generated by each and every API calls. It has been generated by my each and every service calls. I will check that if any kind of response time is breaching in that particular manner, in that particular thing. Yes. If my service is not performing well, if my any of the service, any of the microservice which is connected with the application service or which is interly connected with two services, you can easily map those services and able to identify where my error is happening. And on the single console, if you find an error, you will have the correlated logs, you will have the correlated server performance metrics. You have the insights in just single screen of your application error, of your server traces, and of your logs. Now you can choose, you have to shift the tabs between 9 to 10 tools, or you have to go with just one pane of glass. You will be having the proactive performance alert. Tool will notify you before user complains if any service is working slow, any API is not calling, any exception has been thrown in your application. Now, this is about the backend mapping of the application. What about the user experience? User will not see the backend. If my application is there, user will only see the page load, that my page is buffering continuously. For example, my payment is not happening. Payment gets failed, then which particular page you will be having a frustration for your user. We have the real user monitoring, which captures every user session in real time. If I am the user of your application, you will be having the insights when I have logged in, when I have signed in, when I have visited the dashboards, when I have visited the web pages, which web pages, on which particular page, how many page load is there, right? Any kind of frustration on that particular page user is feeling or not. So you have the whole user journey on your application, and it's not a single user. Each and every user journey can be tracked along with your sessions, along with your performance of the application, and along with the errors also. Right? Each and everyone in this webinar has somewhere in their life, they faced the 404 error, page not found. Why it is happening in my infra? Which particular call is not making that web page visible to the user? Which URL I have to check? And what is the particular error? That all things connected with your logs is there in the single pane of glass in real user monitoring. That's the organization can visualize the things through the user eyes. So let me give you in major three pillars which define the metadata. We have the mission. We are shifted from monitoring to observability, and that is the first pillar, which is observe with clarity, serve with confidence, and evolve with intelligence. This is the vision of Motadata. This is the three pillar that define this platform. So thank you so much, team, for joining the webinar. Any of you have any kind of questions, can please raise their questions in the Q&A chat. We will love to answer them. Could you please share the PPT?
Yes, so I would like to let you know that after this webinar, I'm going to share the webinar recording as well as the PPT with all of you.
So, Sir Manuel has the question that can you please elaborate rum in the practical scenario? Okay, sure. I would love to do that. Let me answer this question. After that, I'll come to the Mr. Giovanni's question. So, if I
consider the scenario for the real user monitoring. Let me tell you, you are using one web application, web portal for your business. You have the web application, right? All business relies on that particular web application only. The application has to be developed on some of the platform like Java, .NET, Python, right? These three are major enterprise languages which used widely. Let me include PHP also. So these platform specific details can be captured under the application performance part. Now, if you have the web application, you will be having some kind of framework connected with it, like React, like AngularJS, or a simple JS, right? So what we are doing is, if I am going to sign in on your application, right, that comes under your framework part of your web application, right? Yes, data will be stored in the database, that is a backend API, correct? Now I'm signing onto your application. I'm facing a continuous buffer. Data has been saved, but I'm facing a continuous buffer on your sign in page only. Will my user experience will be good or bad? Obviously bad, right? So you can see why my sign in page is having this much of page load, where I'm tracking your whole React.js from the scratch, from the code level. You will be having that insightful information that why my particular user is facing this frustration. What is the error? What particular API is not calling properly? Whether it is my callback URI, whether it is my URL which is not working properly. Okay. This kind of information you will be getting under your real user monitoring. Now let's consider that if I'm not facing any kind of error in the sign in page, the sign in will be smooth. I'll land into the another page where the login page where I'm finding the 505 error. Now, if I'm facing the 505 error, what particular error state any user is receiving, you can see from the observability side. What particular message, what particular error you are getting from the user side, you can have those details in this real user monitoring. As I brief the scenario of 404 error not found, you can see those details in your dashboards. And you can easily correlate logs with it. You can easily map your network with it. That why what particular API, what particular span is not generating properly. So application performance monitoring and real user monitoring. If you separated them, then you only have the either of the backend information, either of the front end information. But if you combine them, the API and then run, then you will have the whole application bird eye view that what is happening. If my front end service is not calling properly, if anything happens in my back end, you can easily able to see that. You have that correlation. Let's comes to the Mr. Give one equation. Is it possible to capture error and open a ticket in service ops? Absolutely. If you are using any of the if you are using any of the ITSM tool, we have the API mapping that if any kind of alerts, any kind of noise is being generated on your infra, we are able to generate a ticket in the ITSM tool. Yes, if you are using Motadata's ITSM tool, which called as a service ops, yes, we have the two-way integration that if my alert is being generated, then the ticket will be automatically created. And if my alert is being cleared in the observability, then my ticket can automatically get closed also. Right? Mr. Pradeep has a question that on the network infrastructure, will tool be able to identify the exact device that is creating performance issue? So
I can say performance issue can be triggered in a two-way if I consider your network. First way is either you are having your high interface utilization, any of the internal connectivity like your MPLS, your like your release lines, like your ISP is not performing well, right? Either you will be having a latency in your network infra. So yes, for both of the scenarios, we are having that modules that which we called as a net route, which will give you a meaningful insight from one source to destination. If you send a packet, then on which particular node I am facing a latency, at which particular node is generating a performance issue. You will be having those insights, right? If I am facing a performance issue in any of the network infra, for example, as a user, I am not getting in proper internet. I'm facing in various latency and high amount of packet lost while I'm accessing the internet. So netroute will tell you which particular node you are facing the latency and on which particular node you are facing a high amount of packet lost in your infrastructure, in your network. Yes, that is possible. Any other questions? So, team, if you have any further questions after the session, you can reach out to the team. We would be love to answer your questions. Right?
Thank you so much, Kruta, for sharing those valuable insight and helping us understand the evolving role of observability in modern IT environment. Thank you to everyone who have joined and actively participated in today's session. And if you have any questions or would like to know more about how Motadata can help your organization move forward smarter IT operation, our team will be happy to connect you. And as I told earlier, we are going to share the recording of this session along with the presentation which Krutat have presented. So we appreciate your time and participation. Thank you and have a great day ahead. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, team, for your joining.